row. A friend of mine with a speech impediment calls me Mitchy Yoid. She even addresses mail to me that way. 4 Y's, no space. My mother calls me Mitchell. I prefer Mitch. My Hebrew name is Moshe. Moses if you're nasty. Moish if you're Yiddish. I've been called many, many things. My roommates always call me bitch. This is a story about my names. My names, my adult life thus far defined by its names, its appellations, its sobriquets, its epithets even. In my 20s, I was a regular at Eitz Chaim, the gay synagogue. Back in that simpler time, the Republican 80s, we wore name tags, first names only, in order to distinguish each other, the fags from the dykes. Mine said Mitch. That was, after all, my name. One Shabbos evening, as I hung out in the vestibule, playing hooky during the Shabbat services, in walked 2 other guys dyeing a name tag with my name on it. I decided right then and there that I was going to change my name. It was a gay shul, right? And I'm a big queen, figuratively and physically speaking. So I called myself Yehudit, which means Jewess in Hebrew. Judith in English, hence Judy. For many moons to come, I was known around town as Judy. I looked around when I heard someone call out, "Hey, Judy," even if it wasn't me they were calling. It was, after all, my name. Years later, after I gave up religion for Lent, I was in a crowd of people when I heard someone calling out, "Judy, Judy." I hadn't been called out in many years, so I didn't look up until I felt a tap on my shoulder. It was a fellow parishioner from eons back and her parents, all of whom knew me only as Judy. At around the same time, I represented the International Queer Jewish Group. Maybe you've heard of it, Wickle Joe. It stands for the World Congress of Gay and Lesbian Jewish Organizations. Now there's a name one can wrap a mouth around. I was good at my job, and I used my powers responsibly, only for good, never for evil. I went to meetings, I organized events, I stopped fegelas. People would come from all around the world to represent their organizations. Some would come every month, some would come only once a year, and some would come once and never come again. Each time we would have to get reacquainted. We would go around the room and introduce ourselves. I'm so-and-so, Gay and Lesbian Bowling Association. I'm blah, 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 Pakistani Pride Organization. I'm yada, 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 Queer Marching Bands of Lower Slobovia. Well, when they got to me, I knew my name, but Wickle Joe would never work. I could just hear myself. "Hi, I'm Moishi of the World Congress of Gay and Lesbian Jewish Organizations." Nebbish extraordinaire. So instead, I announced, "I'm Mitch, Queen of the Jews." And from then on, at every subsequent meeting, when I would introduce myself, I would stand up and say only, "I'm Mitch," and everyone would shout, "Queen of the Jews!" Thus, my thorny crown was placed. In those heady activist days, I was also fortunate to become a novitiate in the Order of Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a group of nuns from San Francisco, the majority of whom were gay men who preached safe sex and distributed condoms. I took the name Schwester Esther. I wore a habit and wimple with a huge gold Muggen David around my neck, and I carried a black patent leather handbag with a box of Tam-Tams in it and a Kiddush cup. To provide Jewish communion, of course. I've been retired for many years now. The activist business was such a drag. But for a while, I was referred to by my former subjects, derisively perhaps, as Queen Mum of the Jews. But it wasn't a throne I chose to sit on, nor a tag that fit neatly in an email address. I channeled my energies into the performing arts. I became a celebrity impersonator. My stalwart character, the man I love to portray, is Kramer from Seinfeld. Giddy up! speaking, which was still early in the TV show's original run, the people whom I entertained called me, of course, Kramer. In fact, and this always blows my mind, fans come up to me while I'm doing my shtick in full Kramer drag and ask me for my autograph. Now, they don't want my autograph. Who the hell am I? They want Kramer's autograph. Think about this. They want the autograph of a fictitious character from a guy who's impersonating this guy, who was actually portrayed by a different and much better actor than myself. They don't want Michael Richards' autograph either. Well, they probably do want his autograph, but they don't want it from me. So I signed Kramer on the dotted line, and all is right with the world. Now, the people I worked with, the other impersonators, they all called me Kramer too, even when we were out of drag and on show business situations. And I would call them Cher, or Elvis, or Lucy. Then, the Seinfeld episode aired where they revealed Kramer's first name, and thus I became Cosmo. As life moved on and computer conversations became de rigueur, I needed an internet handle. So, like J-Lo, I became Milo, using the first two letters of my first and middle names, sort of, Mitchell Lloyd. And Milo is a name I've become quite fond of. I still perform occasionally, but my life is far more familial and home-centered today. Each of my two siblings and some good friends who live nearby have children, one of each. A potential fag and a potential dyke. All of my nieces and nephews, well, they just call me Uncle Mitch.